How are you? How are you? My friend, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Rajeshwar Singh, I've known him for a very long time. Representatives of the accounting fraternity, guests, friends. I'm very pleased to be here. I was thinking whether to accept this invite or not. But I thought as a government, it is important for us to engage at the highest level. And I must say that I'm very pleased to be here to recognize and celebrate the International Accounting or Accountants Day that recognizes the significant role of accountants in our society. I wish to also express my thanks to the Institute of Chartered Accountants for organizing this gathering, because it is important to keep talking about the role that you have and why people need to appreciate what the accountants present. The work that accountants do generally is often behind the scenes, but it's crucial in maintaining, financial transparency, accountability, and it's a cornerstone for good governance. And your due diligence, your work ensures that there is financial transactions are recorded accurately, financial reports are prepared in a timely manner. We always have issues in government. When I was in opposition, we talked about why annual reports, financial reports take a lot of time to get to Parliament. And above all, to adhere to the legal and the regulatory requirements. And without your expertise and diligence, businesses would struggle to make informed decisions. Investors would be unable to evaluate, opportunities before them, and governments would not be able to collect the right amount of taxes. So it's very important. And through the various audits, processes, assurances, services that you provide, you actually validate financial information, instilling trust in the accuracy and transparency of financial statements for investors, stakeholders, and the public. And in our world where trust is paramount, accountants can and should stand as pillars of financial reliability. As an economist, I've always, and people often don't talk about this, but it's an important ingredient. Therefore, it is important to talk about and understand that trust in a society is important source for economic growth and development. Trust between economic entities, trust between economic players. No matter how much laws and regulations you have, daily transactions, daily trade, daily activities rest on a very important principle of trust. Trust between the economic players, the private sector, and government is a very, very important and vital ingredient for not only the development of good policy, but also seeing the effective implementation of those policies. The economic literature is quite extensive in that area. Economists understand the importance of social and psychological variables in building that trust, but often it is not talked about. Very prominent economist, chief economist at the World Bank, former chief economist, advisor to the Indian government, Kaushik Basu, has actually written quite extensively on this issue of trust. And I can tell you that we as a government, as Minister of Finance, I understand absolutely well the importance of building trust between government and the private sector. And we have shown as a government a very determined commitment to build that trust and engagement with the private sector. And we're very pleased that we started our government's term very quickly by appointing a fiscal review committee. We had a very successful National Economic Summit. And I want to thank, Pradeep for being a member of that committee. And I must say that the work that they volunteered to do and produce in a very short period of time, a 100-page report, that served as a very, very important contribution when we were finalizing our budget. I know that as a government, we would like to engage more. We feel that the private sector's push, their advocacy, their engagement with government to develop good policy is very effective. And if you look at the evidence around the world, where there is a framework, where there is a clear pathway between the government and private sector players, such as accounting bodies, you see the development of not only good policy, but also good outcomes. It is not necessary that the private sector and government will agree all the time. There will be times where there will be differences, in terms of policy imperatives. And I think that difference can also be used to build, further trust. I know the International Accountants Day or Accounting Day, first introduced in 1972, I think same year as the Fiji Institute of the Chartered Accountants was formed, I'm told. Is a day to appreciate these countless contributions of accountants. I must say, when I was teaching at the university, I used to have a slightly different view of accountants. And it kind of, for a while, reaffirmed my view over the last several years. But I knew that the environment was not conducive for accountants to show their ability and advocate policies in a way that they should do in the country. I know that the Fiji Institute of Chartered Accountants and the overall accounting profession, you played a very pivotal role in shaping public policy, as I said, through the annual budget submissions. And I encourage you to continue to do that, continue to have dialogue with other institutions like FRCS, government departments. And as I said, there's a lot of legacy issues that we still have in government. I know the speed at which we need to reform, given the legacy of last 10 or 15 years of a form of dictatorship that did not allow policy development in a way that should have. We find that we need to speed up. And again, the cabinet, based on the good contribution from the private sector, prominent uh, people like, Pradeep, Richard Naidu, and many others. We are working very carefully to transform and translate all the recommendations that were made at the Economic Summit. We have strengthened the National Planning Office in a big way. And what we want to do through the National Planning Office to act like a think tank as well, not just policy framers, but think tank to work with the private sector, harness the wisdom, knowledge, and I want the Fiji Institute of Chartered Accountants to play an important role, and indeed all the accountants in the country. The annual FICA Congress is another forum, another commitment, as it serves or provides a good platform. And I was very pleased to attend that Congress. And in that, you talk about a lot of these issues freely. So I want to encourage you to continue to do that because it showcases the Institute's role, important role in fostering knowledge sharing and development with not only amongst yourselves, but also to the broader community. And I know that we are not only celebrating your dedication and professionalism, but also recognize the need for continuous professional development, ethical behavior in a rapidly changing world with new technology, chat GTP, AI. These are, technological revolutions that transform not just thinking, but also the way we do things. And sometimes we have to make sure that we constantly adapt to new technologies, regulations, business practices, while maintaining, commitment to highest ethical standards. President talked about ethical conduct. I think it's very paramount for our accountants because, as I said, that ethical conduct will build further trust in the relationship, especially when we're dealing with money. And from a government's point of view, this is why, we have a very important role. We have the Auditor General's Office, which is supposed to be an independent office, and we are trying as a government to ensure that we strengthen that office. We have the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee, and then we have people like yourselves who feed into the whole process of accountability and transparency. And I think building a strong ethical culture fosters, enhances public confidence. And the more advocacy we have from accounting bodies, professional bodies like yourselves, the better we become as a society, as a country. Just before I conclude, I just wanted to say that we are 10 months into government. Obviously, there are significant challenges that we still have to deal with. But so far, if I just give you a snapshot of where we are in terms of the economy, the tourism numbers are beyond the 2019 numbers by 2%. We have seen growth in the total salaries and wages compared to 2019. It's gone up by about 25%. The salaries and wages have also increased from our calculations somewhere around 10 to 12%, partly because we have this huge challenge of losing skilled labor force, sometimes a good problem to have, but also it's because more jobs are being created. There are people moving from one sector to the other. I know the Fiji Retailers Association president was inviting people who are at home to come and work. And it's pushing the salaries and wages, which is a good thing. The projected economic growth for 2023 still remains at 8%. Although, there are economists, who are providing conjectures, making, that's fine. I mean, looking at the vagaries of the international market, commodity prices, fuel prices. Tourism industry has a capacity issue now, given the huge growth. But also, I think there are factors within our source markets. I mean, during COVID, Australia accumulated, billions of dollars household savings. I think there's a spillover of some of those factors. But these are challenges that we will see next year. And when people talk about inflation, cost of living, I think there is a lot of misinformation. And I wanted to, again, because the media is here, to say when we formulated the budget, we made sure that we looked at three foundations to the budget. One, of course, was a fiscal consolidation. Given our debt level, we realized that if we don't do something now, the pain would be much bigger and much more pronounced in the future. And we could not continue with it. So we made sure that we reduced the deficit from an average of 9% in the previous years to about 4.8%. We reformed the tax system, based on what we felt. We maintained the zero rating on VAT for 21 items. We added basic medicine. So 22 items still have zero VAT. We also realized that the freight costs that had gone up by 3 or 4 times during COVID started to come down. We have put in measures such as reduction in duties on some of the food items. We made sure that we increased the corporate tax by 5%. We also have this 3% on export, and some businesses are complaining about it. We feel that complaint is not too valid. Plus, what we have done is all the revenue, and revenue is very good. I can tell you that, October figures show very good revenue points. In fact, it's way above the forecast. So what we are saying is the revenue that we are getting, because people have to realize that out of $4.3 billion budget, $1 billion goes straight to debt servicing, $1 billion goes to civil service salaries. But whatever additional revenue that we are going to collect, we're putting that into health sector. We increased the budget substantially. We have kept the income tax threshold to $30,000, so that income stays. We have forgiven $650 million in TELS loan, which people were paying on a monthly basis, fortnightly basis. So we have put that money that was going into paying debt into the pockets of 53,000 students, workers, and their families. We've increased social welfare allowances in all categories. We've increased the budget for the agriculture sector. We've provided subsidies for non-sugar crop sectors. We put in another $8.2 million into the pockets of sugarcane farmers, highest ever cane price that the farmers have received. So, and we have allocated another $45 million to provide $200 each to every student from preschool to Form 7, with incomes less than $50,000. And we are looking at helping more than 220,000 students at the beginning of next year, so that they can. So as a government, we have not neglected the most vulnerable and those in the middle income. However, we are, seeing some headwinds, challenges, but with your cooperation, with some of the reforms, we feel that we can spur up investment. The resource sectors need a boost. So these are issues, and there's been some wild suggestions with respect to reevaluation. Pradeep is a member of the Reserve Bank board. Lorraine is here. I think those are wild suggestions. I won't even go there. But let me just say thank you again, and I want to congratulate all of you, President, for holding this event. Numbers may be small. People are still getting used to the change. And I keep saying to some of my critics, just think how much things have changed in this country in the last 10 months. You're free, you're confident, you may not like some things that we do as a government, but that's fine. But the fact is, where we are able to come, talk to each other, lay out our policies, lay out what government does. One of the journalists said to me, "Sir, this is the first time in 15 years I've been to a Minister of Finance office to ask questions, and he's answering the questions." So this is how things are different. And I want to, again, congratulate you for this day and wish you all a very good day in reflecting on your work and the profession. But also want to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy Diwali. And may you all be blessed with the light that we are all looking for all the time. Thank you. Nakavakalevu and Dhanyavad.